Today on 5 a.m. Story Talk, we're going to be diving into the fucked up amount of free work it takes to not sell something in Hollywood today. If I had enough room in the title, I could have just as easily called this episode "That Time a Studio Told Me to Spec a TV Pilot for It," even though I already had an A-list actor attached to the project. Buckle up. It's time for another one of my infuriating cautionary tales that I hope better prepare you for a life as a professional screenwriter. When I sold my first feature screenplay in 2008, all that was required of me was a solid log line and a rambling, generally unfocused, 15-minute conversation inspired by notes I had scribbled down the day before. Other projects I sold in the late aughts and early teens involved no more than a 5-minute reply to that classic question, "What are you working on?" I've even sold projects in the room this way. What this all led to is what's called development in Hollywood. It's what producers and studios used to do all day, every day. They found ideas, and sometimes speculative scripts, and after paying writers for their labor, wrestled said ideas, scripts, into green lights. More often than not, they failed because, art is hard, and creating something that exists at the intersection between art and commerce is even harder. But it's this process that has allowed the American film and TV industry to thrive for decades. Paying artists to discover the best way to tell their screen story and, with producers' help, hopefully thread the creative and commercial needle necessary to get it made. Today, however, a screenwriter is typically expected to break every element of a film or TV series before a contract and payment is even discussed. In the case of the series, often multiple seasons, as well as create a visual pitch deck and maybe even cut a trailer to help them sell their project. All of this is ideally based on intellectual property the screenwriter has somehow optioned with their own limited resources. But what they really need to do if they want to sell something is attach a hot director and a valuable star or two, except even then this often doesn't work. The business is rife today with stories of packages dying despite the impressive names involved, like the one I'm about to tell you about. This personal tale of woe will illustrate for you the real world where this recent evolution in Hollywood development takes on a screenwriter. The setup: I'm living in Oxfordshire in the UK. A recent spec I wrote during lockdown has wowed a major US production company that I've had a long relationship with. The producers asked me to hop on Zoom to catch up, but really, astonishingly, the Zoom is to present me with an exciting creative opportunity. By the way, this is why I always tell aspiring screenwriters that specs are rarely about actually selling the specific script. They're mostly about inspiring people to work with you on something else. These producers tell me about a TV series they would like me to create and write for them. They're keen to produce a prestige limited series inspired by the life of one of America's most murderous cult leaders. I'm immediately intrigued by this idea because I identify a tremendous amount of thematic overlap between the story of the cult leader and his followers and Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. I could finally talk about Trump in a narratively exciting but oblique way. Then, the producers sweeten the deal by telling me a studio is already involved. Great, that'll help us sell it. More, there's a star interested in playing the lead and producing. Ooh, now, this is an immediate red flag for me, and you might ask why. Well, I've been told this so many times in my career, I never believe it anymore. It inevitably turns out that some producer had a passing encounter with an actor at a party, some event, and they parted ways saying something as meaningless as, "Hey, we should work together." "Yeah, that would be great." "Cool." Months later, some poor screenwriter, like me, has killed themselves working on a project that they're told the actor is unfortunately too busy for now. But this time it's different, I'm assured. The star, whom I won't name, is an A-lister nominated for multiple Emmys and Golden Globes. And we're going to call him Brock Rockwell here because I love how bad this name is. The producers have worked with Brock multiple times, and I know for a fact that he's a friend of the head of the company. Great. Despite my previous experiences, I decide to gamble that the star is more than a dangling carrot to induce free work from me. I spend the next 3 months breaking the entire series. Literally, every episode, even though the original agreement with the producers was only to break the pilot. That's because I'm told Brock will want to hear the whole story before he officially attaches, which I know are words just to get more free work out of me, but I don't have much of a choice. It kills me, and I abhor this game producers play to milk labor out of screenwriters, but a deadline announcement with Brock's name and my name in it will transform my career. Maybe more than that, I'm genuinely a huge fan of Brock's. I desperately want to work with him. Basically, both my bank account and my creative heart are invested in this project happening now. Then, after weeks of Brock being unavailable, busy on sets, all of which I assume he doesn't even know about this project because his name being referenced was just to get free work out of me, as I said, I get word he wants to Zoom on Saturday. I spend the next 72 hours racked by anxiety. If I fuck this up, all my work will have been wasted and more. I will blow an opportunity that rarely comes along for writers who aren't in the A-list themselves. The night before the Zoom, a good friend, another producer I trust implicitly, tells me I absolutely cannot talk for 30 minutes, no matter what the production company is saying or however good my pitch is. Actors want to talk, not listen. Actor friends of mine tell me the same. So I pour myself a glass of scotch at this point to calm down and accept that I know this story inside and out by now. I'm just going to give a quick overview of the series, tell Brock why I think this character is so dramatically exciting and thematically resonant today, then, let him take the lead. So the Zoom finally kicks off. We banter for a bit. Then Brock tells me to start talking with a roguish smile. He's got a notepad, which he proudly waves at the camera, and he just wants to take notes. In other words, he doesn't want to talk at all. He's literally the only actor in the world who doesn't like being the center of attention in development meetings. This makes me like him immensely, but it's less than ideal at the moment. As a result, I wing it based on all the work I've done. I probably smile too much, but Brock is so damn charming, it's hard not to. I try to ignore how much I'm sweating. I keep asking him questions to gauge what he's reacting most to so I can pivot accordingly. And at the end, he says he'll talk to the producers after he has some time to think about it. A week later, we get word from Brock, this A-list actor. He's in, and the relief is unbelievable. I shed so many tears because I'm about to make a lot of money my family desperately needs after COVID kneecapped our income. We're not unique in this regard, of course, but in my case, my last 2 contracts fell apart during negotiations, something that never used to happen to me or any other screenwriters I know. I haven't been paid anything substantial in more than a year as a result. But that's not going to happen this time because, holy fucking shit, I'm going to work with Brock Rockwell. Now, this is the point that I should insert the sound of tires, screeching to a stop, because I'm told the studio won't pay for a pilot script, despite Brock's involvement and despite the fact that the producers strongly suggested it would be once Brock officially attached himself. My head hurts. This is madness of the highest order based on everything that's happened during my career at this point and based on everything I've learned about the screenwriting business from my reps and professional friends. 20 years earlier, it was possible to sell a pitch based on a badass title alone, and I personally know people who did this. 30 years ago, I would have been asked if I wanted my payment in cocaine, which sounds like a joke, but it's not. Today, 2021, I have an A-list actor attached to my pitch and, well, nada. Everything has changed, I'm told. The studio won't pay me unless I spec the pilot first and meet their expectations to greenlight the whole series. In other words, I and the producers will have to produce a pilot script for free and bring it back to them with our A-list star still attached. Even then, it begins to feel like we'll also have to find a director the studio will approve to get me paid. Over the next week, I mull what to do. Ultimately, I decide I can't spend 6 to 8 months of my life pursuing a possible, increasingly far-fetched job. Work is much more forthcoming in the UK for me, and nobody has ever asked me to labor for free there. Though to be clear, it happens to less established writers. More, I have to finish edits on my debut novel for my publisher. This would just be a terrible use of my time, despite how much I love the producers, the actor, and the project. Trumping all these practical concerns is my aforementioned personal disdain for free work. I can accept a degree of it as part of the toxic Hollywood culture, but what's currently being suggested to me is disgusting. It's exploitative and abusive, no matter how normal this has become. So I pass on writing the pilot on spec. The producers tell me we'll pitch around town anyway, with Brock still attached, to hopefully find someone who'll pay me for my labor. With Brock, it should be easy, I'm yet again assured. A week later, though, I get a call. Brock is starring in a huge new streaming series that sounds awesome. He won't be available for a very long time, though. He's off our project and we're out of luck. Fuck! I'm devastated. But the producers insist I'll find another star. Hey, this is what they do. I just need to rework the pitch for them into something that will work for other actors since the last one was crafted specifically for Brock. I put in another month's worth of free work, integrating what we learned from Brock's feedback along the way, which means rebreaking much of the series. And then wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. I check in, but there's no feedback from actors yet. Then we get word a competing project is sold on the feature side. Fuck. Don't worry, I'm told. The producers are going to press forward. The TV space is very different than the feature space, and features notoriously don't move forward. So, yet again, I wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. Then I get word the VP of development at the production company has actually left the company. I'm assured the work will continue on our project, but at this point, I never hear from the production company again. Well, in total, I spent about 6 months of my life working on the project I just described. Also, I could never officially pitch the project to networks or streamers that might have actually bought it, never be told no, never even have a real chance to make money off my labor. An A-list star with multiple Emmy and Golden Globe nominations hadn't even made a difference. And at the end of it, I didn't even get a thank you for my time. This is the end result of studios, networks, and streamers offloading the responsibility and financial burden for development from their creative executives onto the shoulders of producers, but really screenwriters. It's also what it's like being a screenwriter in Hollywood today. So, do you still want to be one? I know it sounds grim, but regardless of how bad it's got, I still can't imagine another life for myself. If you can't either, then I wish you the best of luck, and I hope I've helped to emotionally prepare you for what you're up against. You can make it happen. Trust me, you can, if you have the talent and the endurance. But nothing about it will resemble the dream you have of what it'll be like becoming a successful Hollywood screenwriter. Well, if you made it this far, thanks for listening. First, if you have any questions about this episode, head to Substack, YouTube, Spotify, or this podcast's Instagram account and jump into the comments sections there. Links in the episode notes. Second, be sure to check out this week's bonus episode, Why You Shouldn't Trust Hollywood Agents. Find out how to listen to it at Substack and Apple in the episode notes. Third, and lastly, if you dug this episode, if you want more like it to show up in your life, if you have been needing somebody to help you look at storytelling craft and art in general from new angles to help you trade your assumptions in and start living a deeper kind of art life, hit subscribe now. That's it for this week. See you next time for some more 5 a.m. Story Talk.